we have entered the epicenter of the Christian faith. It's those 3 days leading up to Easter, called the Triduum. It began with Maundy Thursday, continues through sunset tomorrow and Holy Saturday. In it, we draw ever closer to this gospel message. And drawing closer to the gospel means greater joy for us, obviously. But it also means a love that's passionate. Passion, for the uninitiated, comes from the Latin word to suffer, to endure. That's what passion is. When we suffer for a cause, especially one for which we've placed all our hope, we are most likely to side with those who fight for our cause. Because fighting means you care, right? But what if passion means not fighting? What if suffering means not defending ourselves? Look at the gospel today. There's your answer. We believe love should win. But today we watch it refuse to fight. Our instinct is to defend what we think is right, to justify the means to get there, and to sometimes retaliate, to balance justice's scales back to our favor. Jesus' instinct, on the other hand, is to absorb, endure, and not strike back. This is not the eye for an eye thing of Leviticus. Nope. He says, you took my eye, and here's my other eye, because I don't need it where I'm going. This is very hard for us to get in our mercurial world. When we are wronged, we seek explanation. You could say that Jesus has been wrong, and what connects with that flame of justice in us, it ignites that flame, that one that seeks vindication at all costs. What we want is to defend what we believe and be the hero. That's a good thing. What we get today is silence before accusation, is abandonment before sacrifice, is execution as the release. That makes me want to throw up my hands and go home. I get the frustration that comes in our lives when we have no control, no comeback, no resolution. We've all experienced that. But I have to ask on a day like this, if God is love, why does love have to look like this? Why does it? We seek strength that endures, but today we're handed weakness. We want victory that triumphs, not love that suffers. Maybe we're looking at this whole thing with spiritual cataracts, because this is what love looks like. It is suffering for love's sake. Love reveals its power in suffering. It draws us in, it changes us, and it sends us out looking for life in unlikely places. Love, in essence, is strongest when it looks weakest. When it looks weakest. And love also brings you face to face with the real competitor to your happiness. You ready for this? The real competitor to your happiness is you. Not your enemy, not your friend. You are your competition. You are the one that talks yourself out of suffering for love's sake. You are the one. It is no one else's fault or responsibility. And today's an appropriate time to at least come to terms with that. On Good Friday, we have to sit in this tension of seeking but not receiving justice. We are forced to come to terms with the times that we didn't fight but should have. when we should have stood up but didn't, when we let Jesus down and let him be taken by the authorities of the day so they could use his message for their purposes. But on Good Friday, thank God, love refused to become what it hates. Love refused to even hate what it becomes. Love refused to let death have the final word. That's true love. That is the Beatitudes in action, in bloom. It's rising above that smoke of retaliation, floating on those higher breezes of restraint. And I get it, that is a hard sell, given all that we see in the world. But today I ask you a simple question. What would restraint look like in your life? Of seeing your enemy, loving them anyway? Of being present without offering an answer? Just being present? Jesus on the cross is looking down at us, opens up one swollen eye, and he says to you today, stay with me. Will you do that? Even if it costs you everything you know? Amen.